What's up, y'all? So this is actually gonna be a little bit of a different video. I don't know if anybody else is interested in it. Maybe it's just me because I'm crazy. But I've always been kind of interested in marble tracks ever since I was a kid, but I could never find an adult version of one. But I found one, and it's called Spacerail. I've heard some bad things about Spacerails, mainly because it's not the instructions for how to put it together aren't in English. Everything's picture based, and then the words that are in English, they are spelled pretty jacked up. But and in this whole track, you literally have to put everything together yourself. The actual rails that the marbles roll on, you have to cut them out of a spool that they give you. So it's kind of a pain. But I've actually already put together one. There's 9 levels. I think there's 11, but on the website there's 9. I've already got level 1, and I've already put that together. And I just got level 2 today in the mail. But let me show you guys some more what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the box level 1. 6,500 millimeters. I'm guessing that's the total distance of the actual rail itself. But when I actually got it, it came with little pieces in the bags, and it came with a spool of wire that I actually had to cut out. Now everything pretty much on it is automatic, but you have to make sure you properly bend the wire or put the things where they go. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you can see, oh, that one messed up. Now I got it stuck now. But the marbles actually go by themselves. And it's pretty cool, but as you can see, mine is a little jacked up right now. But if you build it together right, put it together right, it does everything by itself. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, you literally have to, but you literally have to put the whole damn thing together by yourself. I had to fix it real quick because it's pissing me off, but I don't know, maybe I'm just a geek, but I found that kind of fascinating. But like this is level 1. I think it was about like 15 bucks. So this is level 2. I'm about to open this one up. But level 9 I want to say is like 140 bucks. But I would definitely recommend starting in phases because these right here are the instructions for level 1. Now, they give you what all the pieces are. But yeah, those are the instructions. Pretty much. It basically just gives you pictures and kind of diagrams of what you need to follow to actually know what you're putting together. So, from the reviews and stuff that I've read, what people are doing is they're starting off with the higher level ones and they can't really put it together. Now, I find it a challenge. It's pretty entertaining. But let me go ahead and unbox level 2 and show you what parts we got. Like I said, this will be my first time seeing it. All right, so we got it open and look at them instructions. Yeah, illustration though. But actually we got, I guess it came with 2 books of instructions. But all right, this is what I was talking about. That's the rails. You got to cut it to make it fit. So the level 1 over there was actually 4 different rails, 2 per side pretty much. But you have to cut the damn rails out of that. I want to say these are actual stand that everything sits on. That's the motor for the elevator. These are the actual little posts. So I don't know if you can see right here, but like the silver post that you actually put little arms on to hold the track. That's what those are. Got your marbles. Got the clips for the elevator to keep everything in there. Those are the pipe connectors. I didn't actually have to use any on that one to make sure I cut them all right the first time. But then you have this plethora of parts. I know these are for the actual elevator, the little spiral thing that makes the marbles go up. So I know that's for these pieces here are for the actual arms that hold the track up. These connectors go for it as well. Arms for the part of the arms, more part of the arms. This is actually a part of that circular base on level 1. So these go with the actual elevator. This is new. I guess this is for the newest part for the level 2, because each rail does something a little bit different. So this must be what makes level 2 different from level 1, besides the length of the track. These are used to make sure the space is even between the actual rails, so the marble doesn't get stuck. Same thing with these, just a little bit smaller. And this is to keep the base connected because it's 2 pieces. But all right, let's get to it. All right, so everything is out of the packaging, wait, except for this. Oh, forgot this, whatever this is. Yeah, I have to look at that. But this is everything. Everything comes with, so I have to turn all of this into that. So these are the rails. It's trying to cut these to size and make them work. That's totally gonna be up to you. I can't really recommend. I don't know if my kind of technique's the best, but I just make sure I have this, good old permanent marker, and some scissors. These are the new parts to it. I'm guessing it's whatever this flip-flop part is. So I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. So the pieces that you see right here are to actually make the arms that hold the track up. So these are kind of like the joiner collar type deal. And these are the lock pins, will lock, whatever you want to call them. These actually lock this piece right here that holds the track into this little arm setup, and it also locks it to these metal rails that they sit on. So the only reason I even know any of that is because of when I did the last one. So I know all these pieces pretty much go together. These go with these as well. These are just kind of the parts that hold the rail together. So like if you look at mine over here, they're elevated. They just hold onto the track. They're not heavy enough to weigh it down. These are to the elevators. That's the platform. That's the part that keeps it together. And that's the motor for the elevator. Like, so that's why I would definitely recommend starting off with the first one, because that way you kind of get an understanding before you jump into the big ones. Because the first one I did, like I said, it says 6,500 millimeter rails. So I'm guessing that's how long everything is. And this one's 10,000. And this is only level 2. And it's 9 levels to this. It's levels to this young boy. But anyway, yeah, so let me go ahead and start putting it together. I'll show you where I go. All right, so another thing about this one too. I know when I did the first one, these instructions here in reference to kind of like how to put these arms together and all that stuff was a lot more detailed. They don't really get into any of that. So like on this first page, I don't think this is the first page actually. This is the first page. It shows you different views of the actual Spacerail, which wasn't in number 1 over there. And like I said, on this one, it just kind of pretty much reminds you how to put the arms together, and that's about it. Now these new parts were the weight flippers. That's all they show. So they show you this part, show you the parts, and everything else is pretty much right back to what you learned from level 1. Now this part right here is pretty interesting. So I know you can see like the A, B, C, D, and E and all that. Those are for the rails. These rails are actually the exact same size as the paper indicates pretty much. So the best thing to do is pretty much set them in here and put the arms how they are accordingly. It's actually the exact same size. And other than that, it really doesn't get into too much detail as far as that. That's pretty much the instructions. So I can see why people have an issue with this, because unless you're visual, if you can pretty much pick things up visually without reading instructions, then you'll be fine. If not, have fun with this. All right, let me go ahead and start assembling this and show you where I go. All right, so as I got finished making the arms, they actually gave me enough to make 18, so I went ahead and made 18 and only counted 17 that I actually needed. Next up is to actually put the elevator together. So we actually get the base. Each base will be different for each level, but you connect it where both all the pegs are on the same side. The X brace goes here, and the single one goes here. So now I'm gonna reposition my phone so I can show you guys how to actually build the elevator. All right, so elevator time. Gotta take your shafts, and they tell you the sizes on the actual which each part goes to, like when you're building like a dresser or whatever. There's 7 of the long ones, and then there's 2 of the shorter ones. So for the actual elevator itself, you need 4. So go ahead and take out the 4, separate the other ones. I'm gonna set these back over here so they're out of the way. So what you do is, on here, there's 3 posts on the outside and there's 1 in the middle. Stick the 1 in the middle, then take the other 3, set them in the holes around the actual center one. So they're all gonna be all flimsy and whatnot. So now what you have to do is also take this and put them all together. So instead of showing you, so basically what you gotta do is each one has a little spiral and they only go on one way. So you sit there and you connect them and they only fit on there one way. So you put all those together. So let me put this together real quick and I'll be right back. All right, so I got this thing together. So I actually made a mistake. You actually can put this on wrong. You just have to make sure you put it together like a corkscrew where each side is even with itself. Now they don't line up perfectly, but that is because they keep, once it goes up on the track, it stays still, it stays in place, so that way it won't roll back down. So what you do is, you take the bottom, you take the flat side of the actual corkscrew now, and you stick it on the middle. So stick it all the way down, and then it'll lock on the actual motor itself. Now this one is actually, looks like it's 1 too high. So just take off the top one until the silver is exposed on it. And you'll see this little silver tip on it. And now what you have to do is, you have to put each one of these rails on individually. So let me put those on and I'll show you what I'm talking about, because this is the cap that holds everything together. But if you put this on now, you can't put these on. So when it comes to this, you actually have to look at the diagram because it doesn't tell you exactly how much spacing. You just have to look at it and see the spacing you have to work with on this. Let me put them on real quick and I'll show you. But if you look, it has a groove for each rail. Now the orientation to these little posts, it does actually make a difference. It does matter where they are. So look at your diagram and go from there, but I'll show you. All right, so I got the rail kind of holders on for the elevator. So basically, I'm not sure if this is really the actual spacing for it, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it. But what happens is once you actually start putting the rails in, you will adjust this accordingly to make sure the marbles actually go all the way down. Now you can actually put these on the wrong way. If you look, all the posts are kind of facing to the corner of this, to the corner of this, and straight out. Now, if you have this thing actually flipped upside down, these posts will be going right up against here, which will mean that bottom one actually can't go down. So if you're having an issue where you can't line those up properly, it's because you have the thing upside down. All right, let's go ahead and move forward because I'm actually going to attach this to here. All right, so almost forgot a step. So basically, make sure you pay attention to the instructions right when you finish putting the elevator itself together, because depending on which level, these arms have to go in. So for the level 2, 1 has to go here, 1 has to go here, and 2 have to go at the top, but they're all facing pretty much towards the motor. Now you also have these little blocker plates. These keep the actual marbles from falling out. On this one specifically, according to this diagram, these drop right into the front. So there's a little gap in there, and this has a little piece on it. So what you do is you literally just stick this in, and it clips down. So you also take the other one, I said this is for level 2, and just kind of click it in there. And that's where that one goes. Now, as far as where you're supposed to put it at on the actual rail, on the little pad, you actually have to check on the instructions. So according to this, you have to put this, I want to say, starting on the 6th spot, you got to put that on there. So if you're looking at this brick, so if this is going to be the 6th spot, or pretty much the screw right next to the X, it should line up and be right next to the X. So it should go on just like that according to level 2. So now when you actually open up the elevator itself, it comes with this little brace. This brace is for the bottom side of here, because if not, it's just gonna kind of be tilted. So you just stick this in right here, and then that way it's stable on the back side. So that is the base to it. So now it's stable, and then you have everything on there. And now I have to go ahead and start making the rails. Like you can see, this one's pretty good amount taller, maybe about 3 screws taller. But now you have to go into taking each rail and actually putting the arms that you made earlier. If you're following it the same way I did, and do it that way. So like what I was saying about the actual rails, this is the rail and this is the diagram. It's a perfect fit. They made it so it's the exact same size. So what I do is I'll take the arm and pretty much match the spacing up accordingly. So if it's facing this way, I'll put it on that way. And if it's facing the other way, put it on that way, and just vice versa. Now this one gets a little bit trickier because this one has the seesaw arms, which are these parts right here. Like I said, this is for the level 2. I'm not sure for other versions, but they are also in effect as far as these rails go. So let me go ahead and set these rails up and I'll show you the finished product. All right, so I finished each one of the rails. So it's pretty much what, 5 rails, A through E. This is gonna be rail 1. Like I said, the spacing is according to the diagram, but I gotta kind of make sure it's right. Like I said, you have to kind of adjust it once you start putting the thing on. So I have all 3 of them, and basically what you have to do now is go back to the instructions, and each post is labeled where it should be on here, right? So letter A goes here, according to this. So A will go there, and then you have B, which is the next little shortest one. That'll go 5 spaces from, oh snap. I got it all wrong, my bad. So I got the thing flipped around the wrong way. So, let me flip this around. All right, let's try this again. So, A is on this side. So that'll be A. A is there. All right, now we have B, which is a little short one. And that one will go 5 over, so about right here. Yep. So 5 over from the top. Then the next one you have is C. So this will be C. And C goes 2 over from the middle. So don't forget, you already have the cross on 1. So that would be the second one, which means it goes right here. So you fit that one in there. So that's that one. And then we have D. D will be this first one I have set over here. That'll go 3 spaces from the end. And then E will go 2 spaces here. Now, where'd I put it? There is a little brace. This brace actually goes on top of D and E. Now, like I said, you have to look at the diagram. It'll just show this, which is that right there. So this will go here. So that little brace will go here. But I'm not gonna put it on just yet because I have to keep moving this around anyway when I start the rail. Now the next part of the instructions that I'm gonna do is actually go back to here. Now I actually have to make the rails to put on each one of these. Now I have my old rail from the last one. I have a little bit left, I kept it. So I'm actually gonna cut the pieces out. So this one actually kind of gave you an estimate. It said about 55 millimeters. So I'm gonna go grab a ruler and cut each one of these. So that way I don't have to break into the spool that I just got, just for these little pieces. So if you do start in levels, make sure you keep your extra, because I was looking at this little bag. These are all the ones that I kept that were extra from the last one. So make sure you keep the extra parts. So let me go ahead and cut these rails and show you the finish. All right, so for this part, I forgot to tell you guys to put these little things on here because that's what holds the actual track in. And please don't make the same mistake I made because I had more roll than that. For this one, this is level 2. I'm not sure how it works everything else. These are supposed to overlap because what happens is the marble drops down and it drops on the track and then it goes that way. So I don't know if the spacing's right exactly, but it's on there because I have to finish putting the rest of the rail on and adjust it accordingly. Also, another thing, these little lock pins, the ones here, they actually go on the back sides of these too, and that's what keeps these arms from moving. I have none of them in on mine because you're gonna have to adjust it as you're putting the rails on, because if you have it just straight up stationary, it might be the wrong height or something like that. You wanna make sure you have the wiggle room to move. And also, when you cut these rails, make sure you kind of do some type of measurement, use some type of marker or something to make sure you kind of get an accurate reading for these. And make sure you definitely cut them longer than you need and adjust it accordingly. Because you know, if you cut them too short, then you have to cut a whole new piece out of the spool. And this is all you get. This is it. You don't get much more than this. So I had a good amount left after I used mine from the first one. And that was with me making them way longer than they had to and adjust them accordingly. So just to prevent yourself from running out, make sure you cut more than you need and then start trimming it down when you start kind of putting the rails together. And also the instructions, they pretty much get non-existent at this point. So now they're just telling you how to make where you put each rail. And they tell you D2, E2, all that. That's basically, each one of these posts is lettered like when I showed you earlier. And one is at the bottom. So one going up on each one. So all they tell you is where to put one. That's it. So you have to make sure you kind of get it in order. And then here it just has some pretty much things telling you how to make sure you have the tracks and have no creases and stuff like that. Now this is a little joiner piece. They only give you 4, so you really can't mess up any more than that. So what I did on the level 1, there's no joiner pieces at all. That's all one rail on each one. So it's 4 individual rails on that one. So pretty much gonna do the same thing for this one too. So I'll start one of them. All right, so this is where patience comes in. That shit I don't have. But basically what I try to do is start from the bottom one and go up. So this is just one rail. So I know you really can't see it because I just kind of got moved around too. But basically the part of the rail that you see now is the loop. So this is the part that goes from here. Okay, I'm sorry, no, from here, wraps around, goes down, loops, and then comes around. That is one side of what I'm working with. So that's how much coil I have. The rest of it's on the floor. That's blue. You want to sit there? How blue? Anyway, so I'm marked right here. Now, it's super loose, and I have a bunch of space, so I have to clean everything up. But I'm going to cut it there, which gives me enough wiggle room to do another one, because if I do another one kind of similar of the same length, then I'll have plenty to do for this next part, because the last part is really just here, going around, and then dropping on the tracks, and then there's just one straight path that goes over. So I shouldn't need hardly too much rail for that. So I'm gonna cut this one extra long, start the next one, kind of get them there, and then start making the track for the other one. And then I'll start to trim them down to make everything work. So let me go ahead and start this. I use the exact same rail that I just cut from the other one and make sure it will fit on the other part. So like, you know, you got one on this side, you can't see my finger in the way. You got one where it is now, and you have one on the opposite side. So I made it long enough where it fits. Yeah, it's super loose, but like I said, better have more than not enough. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna stretch, I'm gonna take this piece off, I'm gonna stretch it out, and I'm gonna make it even, basically cut another even piece with this one, because I already know it's more than enough, because there was plenty of slack when I had it on this side of the track and for the other side of the rail for the same part. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that, and I'm gonna start with the last part of it. So, all right, so this next part is pretty easy. It's just kind of, well, this is the first of the 2 parts that it is. It starts from here and wraps around. So I could have made this a lot tighter, but there's no point, because like I said, it's gonna stop right here. I already made a mark. I'm just gonna cut another one the same size, because the inside rail, which is the one I still have to make, will be a lot shorter than that one anyway. So just make it there. There's plenty of room. And then I just have to go down to the bottom, which is, I wanna say it starts here. And that's the part that just pretty much goes straight right into the, back into the elevator. So it'll be this part of the rail right here. That's all I got left to make. All right, so I got the final, oh, my bad. All right, so I got the final piece of the rail in. I still cut that one extra long just to be safe, just to make sure I got plenty of room. So now what I gotta do is trim that one down, but that's both of them for the longest part, and that's for the second part. Just kind of put everything on, see how it fits, and start moving it around to try to get the right feel. So that's when I actually started using the marble. I actually dropped the marble down on certain parts to see where it gets caught up. But this is how much extra spool I have left, still just cutting too much. So they give you plenty of spool, but just make sure you just don't mess it up. All right, so let me start getting this track together and I'll show you. All right, so I got the whole track on there. Everything just has to be trimmed down, and the little pieces like that have to be put on it. So everything's looking like it should. Got enough space, everything's used up, so Now it's down to the trimming, but this is some tedious stuff. All right, so finally finished it. Got everything adjusted. Looks pretty good so far. Let's go ahead and do that test. I went ahead and put level 1 right next to level 2. So each one of them comes with 2 marbles each. So I got 4 together. So before I actually turn it on and do the elevator, I'm gonna kind of show you guys what it looks like just dropping from the top. So this is level 1. So turn the elevator on. And just keep recycling. All right, so that's level 1. Let's see if level 2 fails. First side. Okay, not smooth, but it works. Then another one. Okay. Looks like a success to me. So this one's a lot longer, a lot taller, so it takes a little bit more time. So when you get up there, that's how I got stuck. But yeah, it works, it works. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little spin-off of cars. This is just another one of my hobbies, well, newfound hobby, so I just figured I'd share it with you guys. Like I said, I've been hearing a lot of, reading about a lot of bad stuff about the Spacerails. You just gotta know how to put them together. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you're interested in seeing more, drop a like, leave a comment. I'm actually gonna go ahead and order level 3. So when level 3 comes in, I do another kind of how-to build. What's up, Domino? Doing a how-to build and kind of go from there. So I'm not sure what the specs are as far as how long the rails are, because the level 1 is 6,500 millimeters, and then the level 2 was 10,000. So gonna get a lot more challenging. Like I said, it's 9 levels on the actual website, but I've heard there's 11. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed the content. What do you want, Domino? Hope you guys enjoyed the content, and catch you guys in the next one. Peace.